Have you ever savored a morning so perfect it felt like a gift from time itself, only to have a neighbor's scream shatter it like glass? That's exactly what I've faced in Pine Ridge, where my lakeside haven became the target of Karen Henderson, the whole president who thought her clipboard gave her dominion over my dock, my beach, and my peace. Her scheme to rent out my private lake access for profit led to a 12-foot cedar wall, a neighborhood revolt, and her arrest in the shadow of her own McMansion. How did one woman's greed turn a quiet retirement into a battle for justice? Buckle up, this epic of nosy neighbors, legal genius, and karma's perfect timing will keep you glued until the final nail in her coffin. I'm David, a 62-year-old, retired accountant who landed in Pine Ridge 5 years ago, chasing the kind of quiet only a lake can offer. My modest 3-bedroom ranch on Lakeside Drive backs onto Crystal Lake, complete with a private dock and a sandy beach I've tended like a garden. Mornings find me in my rocking chair, a chipped mug from my college diner days warming my hands. The lake shimmering silver gray as meadowlarks sing. It's the peace I earned after decades of corporate deadlines and raising the kids. Pine Ridge was paradise, neighbors waved, barbecues hummed, and last Ramadan we hosted a community of tar, laughter mixing with the clack of a cricket ball from a street match. But across the cul-de-sac loomed Karen Henderson's 5,000-square-foot McMansion, perched on a rise with a lake view, but no direct access. She'd have to cross my yard or trek half a mile to the public beach, a fact that gnawed at her. Karen's reign as HOA president began with a clipboard and a smile that never reached her eyes. She patrolled like a general, citing violations with glee, a mailbox an inch to tall, a rose bush to red. I'd dealt with HOA letters before, petty but manageable. Then came her knock one Saturday, her designer athleisure screaming wealth, her voice dripping condescension. Your kayak racks to inches too close to the property line, she said, citing subsection 12.4. My deck chairs weren't from an approved vendor, and my native wildflowers clashed with community aesthetics. I nodded, adjusted the rack, swapped a chair, and replanted a patch, thinking compliance would end it. How wrong I was. Weeks later, I noticed strangers in my backyard snapping lake photos, lounging on my dock, even using my kayak. When I confronted a couple, they showed me an online listing for Henderson Lakeside Retreat, offering exclusive lake access for $300 a night. The photos featured my dock, my beach, my kayak. Blood roared in my ears. I marched to Karen's, catching her power wash in her driveway. This is a shared neighborhood asset, she said, unfazed. It boosts property values. Be grateful my high-quality guests visit. She threatened an HOA fine under the Neighborhood Harmony Clause if I complained. That night, I pored over the HOA bylaws like a detective. Article 9 guaranteed homeowners' rights to private property, including docks and beaches. A grandfather clause, predating the HOA, protected my lake access. Karen was trespassing and committing fraud. I called my college friend Derek, a property law expert. He laughed so hard, he nearly choked. She's begging for a lawsuit, he said, outlining her violations: trespassing, false advertising, and potential tax evasion on undeclared rental income. But Derek suggested a better plan: malicious compliance. I hired a surveyor to confirm my property lines, secured permits, and contracted a crew to build a 12-foot privacy wall within HOA guidelines. Treated cedar, neutral palette, structurally sound. The plan was to block Karen's lake view while preserving mine. All during her Memorial Day HOA barbecue, a weekend she beat too distracted to notice. Until it was done, the operation was surgical. Saturday at 7 a.m., trucks rolled in. By noon, concrete posts were set. By evening, the frame stood tall. Sunday brought cedar panels, and by afternoon, the wall was complete, a towering monument to my rights. I was sipping a celebratory beer when Karen screeched, shattered the calm. She stormed across the street, barbecue guests trailing, her face a kaleidoscope of rage and panic. This is illegal. I'll sue, she shrieked, threatening arrest and whole retaliation. I handed her a folder: permits, surveyor's report, bylaws, screenshots of her rental ads. At Derek's cease and desist letter, her fury melted into dread as she flipped through it. Guests whispered, phones out, some checking if their own properties were in her listings. One board member muttered about HOA insurance not covering fraud. Karen demanded an emergency board meeting. Tuesday night, the community center was packed. I arrived with a slide deck, bylaws, footage of trespassers, renter testimonials, and a timeline of Karen's intimidation. Neighbors shared their own stories. Mrs. Iqbal, a widow, described Karen finding her for unapproved henna designs during a Ramadan celebration. Mr. Patel recounted her banning a cricket match, claiming it lowered aesthetics. Another neighbor found her shed in Karen's listings. Research into HOA governance shows boards must act transparently. Karen's actions were anything but. Her rebuttal was a stammered mess of community synergy and property values. When the treasurer, Aisha Khan, demanded financial records, Karen froze. The vote to remove her was unanimous, 9-0. She stormed out, knocking over a chair, screaming we'd regret this. The fallout was swift. Karen's listings vanished from rental platforms. Guests demanded refunds, and the state attorney general opened a fraud investigation. A financial audit revealed $12,000 in unauthorized HOA credit card charges, spa trips, designer clothes, a consulting fee to her sister. 3 months later, a process server sought Karen for lawsuits from renters and a $250,000 fine for fraud and tax evasion. A foreclosure notice appeared on her McMansion. The last time I saw her, she was loading a moving truck, her glare meeting my cedar wall. I raised my mug in a silent toast. She answered with a gesture and drove off, Pine Ridge fading in her rearview. Now, my mornings are mine again. The lake glimmers, the cricket matches are back, and the wall stands. It's cedar silvering under the sun. If you love seeing petty tyrants toppled by their own schemes, smash that like button. And if you're hooked on stories where justice rises like a well-built wall, subscribe. You won't believe what's next.